Look at that corner of your room. Really look at it through the lens of a forensic investigator. There is a guitar case sitting there, leaning against the wall at a tired angle, layered in a fine grey shroud of dust that has been accumulating for exactly 214 days. Next to it, a stack of books on Python programming with spines that have never been fully cracked, their pages still smelling of unfulfilled potential and the pristine glue of the bookstore. There is a yoga mat rolled up in the corner, a dumbbell used exactly 4 times, and a French language app on your phone that has not sent you a notification in months because even the algorithm has finally given up on you. You look at this scene every morning and you smell failure. You feel a cold, heavy lump of guilt sitting in the pit of your stomach like a lead weight, dragging your self-esteem into the carpet. You see a graveyard of hobbies. You see a lack of discipline. You see a fundamental character flaw that makes you feel broken every time you scroll past a LinkedIn post of someone who has been doing the same specific corporate task for 20 years. But you are looking at it through a lens that was polished by people who wanted to turn you into a predictable, manageable piece of industrial machinery. I am here to perform an autopsy on that guilt. I am here to open up your brain and show you the wiring they tried to hide from you. Beneath the shame, there is a pulse. That guitar, those books, that unfinished business, they are not evidence of your failure. They are the artifacts of a high-functioning biological algorithm that is doing exactly what it was designed to do. You are not a quitter. You are a scout. You are a biological machine currently optimized for high-level data acquisition in an environment that is changing faster than your ancestors could have ever imagined in their wildest fever dreams. The world calls you a jack of all trades, master of none, as if it were a death sentence delivered by a judge. I call you a survivor. Imagine our stick figure friend standing in the middle of this mess. He is not crying. He is not apologizing to the walls. He is simply scanning the horizon with clinical precision. He picks up a tool, learns its weight, understands its fundamental mechanics, integrates the data into his neural network, and once the marginal utility of staying drops below the value of the next unknown, he moves on. This is not laziness. This is the anatomical reality of a mind that refuses to be obsolete. What if your curiosity was never a bug? What if it was the ultimate survival feature for a century where the only constant is the total destruction of the status quo? We are going to dissect the industrial lie that told you to pick one lane and stay in it until you die. By the time we are finished with this procedure, you will realize that your inability to focus is actually your greatest weapon against a future that wants to replace you with a simple line of code. Listen to the voices in your head during the next family dinner. The room is warm, the smell of roasted meat is in the air, but the atmosphere is sharp with judgment. These voices sound remarkably like your parents, your teachers, and that one uncle who has worked at the same insurance firm since 1985 and wears his boredom like a badge of honor. They ask you when you are going to finally settle down. They ask you why you cannot just finish one thing before jumping to the next project. They look at your shifting career path and see a ship without a rudder. This is the first layer of the psychological trap. It is a pincer move designed to trigger your ego and your ancient lizard brain fear of social exclusion. In this laboratory, we see this manifest as the specialist complex. Society rewards the specialist because the specialist is predictable and easy to manage. A specialist is a bolt that fits into a very specific, pre-drilled hole in a very large, very slow machine. The machine loves specialists because they are easy to inventory, they are easy to price, they are easy to control, and most importantly, they are very, very easy to replace when a cheaper, faster bolt comes along. You feel the sting of being an outsider because your brain is hardwired to fear being cast out of the tribe. 10,000 years ago, being cast out meant certain death by a predator in the tall grass. Today, it means being the person at the party who says they are exploring new interests instead of having a prestigious, one-word job title. The silence that follows your explanation is the sound of the social hierarchy judging your utility. We see our stick figure now, standing in a beige void, surrounded by a circle of other figures. They all have single, rigid icons bolted to their heads, a hammer, a wrench, a pen. They are static. They are safe. Our figure has a shimmering, shifting cloud of icons above him that they cannot categorize. The circle is pointing fingers. They use words like flake. They use words like aimless. They use words like unproductive. But notice the posture of the specialist. He is fixed. He is brittle. If the world stops needing hammers, the man with the hammer icon becomes a ghost overnight. The subconscious weight you carry, that heavy stone in your chest when you start something new, is not your own. It is the inherited fear of a system that needs you to stay in your box so it can count you as a predictable asset. You are being exploited by an outdated industrial morality that equates repetition with virtue. It is time to stop apologizing for having a brain that is hungry for the entire world instead of just one dry crumb. This is about the death of the specialist and the resurrection of the hunter-gatherer mind. Let us peel back the skin and look at the history of this infection. For 99% of human history, being a specialist was a death sentence. If you were a hunter who refused to learn how to gather plants, you starved during the long winter. If you were a builder who refused to learn how to defend the camp, you died in the first midnight raid. Evolution favored the generalist. It favored the mind that could connect the shape of a shifting cloud to the migration of a herd and the chemical properties of a medicinal root found in the dirt. This was our natural state, fluid, adaptive, and endlessly curious. Then came the Industrial Revolution, a mere blink of an eye in evolutionary time. We moved from the open fields to the dark, rhythmic assembly lines. We were told that the highest form of human achievement was to turn the same screw 400 times an hour for 40 years, until your body broke or the clock stopped. This was the birth of the specialist lie. We were conditioned through a Prussian-style education system to believe that depth is the only measure of value and that breadth is a sign of a shallow, untrustworthy mind. The school bell was designed to mimic the factory whistle. The desks were arranged in rows like machines. You were taught to wait for permission to move, to think, and to change subjects. But look at the anatomy of true greatness. Leonardo da Vinci did not stay in his lane. He painted masterpieces while designing war machines and dissecting corpses to understand the fluid dynamics of water. Benjamin Franklin was a printer, a scientist, a diplomat, and an inventor who understood the electricity of the sky and the politics of the earth. They did not have a focus problem. They had a range solution. The current economic landscape is a mirror of the pre-industrial world, but on digital steroids. We are moving into a reality where a narrow skill set has a shelf life of less than 5 years. If you are the world's best expert on a specific type of legal document or a specific coding syntax, an artificial intelligence model will erase your career in a single afternoon. The specialist is a monoculture. And in biology, a monoculture is one infection away from total extinction. Our stick figure is now standing in a vast, grey factory. The walls are closing in. Every other figure is bolted to the floor, polishing a single spot until it shines. But our figure is moving. He is climbing the walls. He is seeing the connections between the gears that the specialists cannot even perceive. He is not a part of the machine. He is becoming the architect of the entire system because he understands how the parts relate to the whole. The science of this is undeniable, and the data is cold, hard, and unforgiving. Researchers like David Epstein have dissected the lives of the world's most successful individuals across sports, science, and art. And they found a recurring, undeniable pattern. They do not start with a head start in one narrow field. They have what is called a sampling period. They spend years wandering through different domains, failing, pivoting, and gathering a diverse library of mental models. This is what we call range. While the specialist is learning more and more about less and less, the generalist is learning how to connect the dots between seemingly unrelated fields. This is where innovation lives. Innovation is not a brand new idea falling from the sky. It is the violent collision of two old ideas that have never been introduced to each other before. Think about the neuroplasticity required to do this. Your brain is a muscle that thrives on novelty. When you learn a new language, you are not just learning words. You are changing the way your brain processes logic and spatial reasoning, which might suddenly solve a mechanical problem you are having in your engineering firm. When you learn how to cook a complex meal, you are training your prefrontal cortex in sequence management and sensory integration, which might be the key to fixing your disorganized business startup. The World Economic Forum released a report in 2024 stating that the most valuable skills for the future will not be technical, they will be cognitive flexibility and complex problem solving. AI can calculate 10 million times faster than you, but it cannot connect. It cannot understand why a principle in jazz music might apply to the structural integrity of a bridge or the flow of a marketing funnel. Our stick figure is now a glowing map of interconnected lines in the beige void. Every time he touches a new hobby, a new neural line fires and stays lit. He is building a massive, resilient web of knowledge. A specialist has a single, thick rope. If that rope snaps due to a market shift or a technological breakthrough, they fall into the abyss. A generalist has a web. They can lose 10 strands and still be the most stable person in the room. This is the biological survival code for the 21st century. In a world of volatile change, the person who can learn, unlearn, and relearn is the only one who is truly safe from the coming storm of automation. You are not losing your focus, you are building your fortress. The system does not fear your failure, it fears your flexibility. If you are flexible, you cannot be controlled. If you cannot be defined by a single, static job title, you cannot be easily placed on a shelf and forgotten. This is why you feel the intense pressure from every angle of society to conform. It is a defense mechanism of a rigid society that is terrified of the unknown. But I want you to look at the M-shaped model of human development. You do not have to be shallow in everything you do. That is another lie. You build deep legs of expertise in 3 or 4 different areas and connect them with a broad horizontal bar of general knowledge. You are a photographer who understands the deep roots of human psychology and knows how to write high-converting sales copy. Suddenly, you are not just another guy with a camera. You are a one-man marketing powerhouse that no AI can replace, because AI cannot replicate the unique, messy, beautiful intersection of your specific life experiences. You are the architect who understands the complex rhythm of jazz and the cold physics of wind resistance. Your buildings will have a soul and a movement that others cannot imitate. This is your unique value proposition. It is not found in being the best at one thing. It is found in the overlap of 3 things. Imagine our stick figure standing in front of a giant, chaotic puzzle that covers the entire floor. All the other figures are trying to find pieces that look exactly like them, searching for their own reflection. Our figure is picking up pieces of different colors, different textures, and different shapes. He is building something entirely new on the sidelines. He is not fitting into the puzzle. He is creating the picture that everyone else will eventually have to follow. Do not let them shame you for your unfinished projects. Every abandoned hobby is a vital data point in your personal laboratory. Every failed business is a masterclass in what not to do when the stakes are higher. You are accumulating intellectual capital, not the kind that sits in a bank account gathering dust, but the kind that sits in your synapses, ready to fire. You are becoming a polymath in an age of drones. You are building a fortress of range that no algorithm can penetrate because your path is too unpredictable for a machine to map. So how do we perform the cure? How do we stop the bleeding of guilt and start the engine of growth in your own life? We turn to the Stoics, the ancient clinical surgeons of the soul. Marcus Aurelius did not see himself as just an emperor. He was a philosopher, a warrior, a student, a father, and a writer. He practiced amor fati, the love of fate. If your fate is to be a person of many interests, a person of wide horizons, then love that about yourself with clinical intensity. Stop fighting your nature. Instead, weaponize it. Use the 3-month sprint. This is your new tactical protocol. Instead of promising to do something for the rest of your life, which is a lie your brain knows you cannot keep, commit to it 100% for exactly 90 days. Be an obsessive. Dive into the deep end without a life jacket. Learn the vocabulary, the hidden mechanics, and the soul of the craft. At the end of those 90 days, look at your data. If it no longer serves your growth or your joy, drop it without a single ounce of regret. You have gained the mental model. You have added a permanent strand to your web. Move on to the next. This is how you build a life of immense depth without the suffocating cage of specialization. You are not a quitter if you leave once you have learned what you came to learn. You are only a quitter if you stay in a field that is dead to you because you are afraid of what people will say at the dinner table. Our stick figure is now moving through a series of rooms in the beige laboratory. In each room, he transforms. He wears a lab coat, then a chef his hat, then a pilot his helmet, then a coder his hoodie, then a gardener his gloves. He does not look confused or tired. He looks energized. He is collecting the essence of each world. He is building a version of himself that is so multifaceted that he reflects light from every possible angle. He is becoming unclassifiable, and in a world run by sorting algorithms, being unclassifiable is the only way to be truly free. You are not a person. You are a movement. You are a collection of possibilities wrapped in a single skin. The experiment is coming to an end, but your life is just beginning to breathe. Look at that dusty guitar again. Do not see a failure. See a choice. You can pick it up today with fresh eyes and the wisdom of your other experiences, or you can let it go with a clean, surgical conscience. Either way, you are the one holding the scalpel now. You are the architect of your own evolution. The world will continue to scream for you to pick a side, to pick a lane, to pick a single soul to inhabit for 40 years. Let them scream. Their noise is just the sound of a dying era trying to maintain its grip on your potential. You are a scout in the wilderness of the 21st century. Your curiosity is your compass. Your range is your shield. Your ability to connect the disconnected is your superpower. Ask yourself this: if you could become anything, why would you ever settle for being just one thing? If the universe is infinite, why are you trying so hard to live in a box? The doors to the laboratory are open. The data is clear and undeniable. You were never broken. You were never lazy. You were just too big for the narrow world they tried to give you at birth. Walk out into the chaos, embrace the mess, connect the dots that no one else can see. The only way to win a game that is rigged for specialists is to become the person who understands the entire board. You are no longer a student. You are the master of transitions. Go, build your web. The world is waiting for someone who knows how to see the whole picture. If you found a piece of your true self in this dissection, it means you belong with us. We do not value consistency for the sake of comfort. We value growth for the sake of survival. This lab is a sanctuary for the curious souls who refuse to be simplified. If you are ready to stop apologizing for your brilliance and start weaponizing your range, then you are one of us. Subscribe and join the collective. We are building a new map of the human mind, and we need your unique, chaotic perspective to complete it. The next surgery starts soon. Do not be late. You have work to do.